I'm using
Okay, so
Bing,
this is
dog.
like
Yeah,
the
these ones.
Doge dog.
Yeah, it literally is the
Oh,
Doge dog.
okay, gotcha.
Maybe I should have just said that. I'm like, it's a
Yeah, you should
Japanese.
have just said
Because
that.
like when I was trying to tell my mom, and I was like, it's a Japanese hunting dog, and she was like, I don't know the fuck. She was like, what kind of nerd dog is this?
Yeah, I've never
Yes,
heard of
it's
that.
the
But then if
Doge
you
dog.
say it's the meme dog, oh yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, it's the meme dog. Um, okay, everybody, welcome to the weekly Mark Crypto fan club meeting. This is the last fan club meeting of the year. So we have a good bit to do this episode. We have 2022 review to do. We can see like what clients we killed, what clients actually made it out a little bit stronger. People shit themselves in the gym, anything like that. I think we can do a what we learned / what we changed our mind on this year, and then the end of the year is always, I've noticed this on any forum that you're on, it is the ask the stupidest question you possibly can period of the year. I think everybody either gets some sort of anxiety about the new year, or they're just like, I need to get this sorted out. It's kind of, there's like finality or finitude to it.
Mhm.
So Reddit, even if you, I just went through like the SS subreddit, I just went to hot. All of it was just kind of just like the questions that are either like 10 seconds to answer, or they're actually quite weird. There's like a million of them though. Johnny G, how's it going,
Yo, what's
Johnny
up,
G?
Johnny?
What are you guys doing for New Year's and Christmas, John? But yeah, Chase, who am I here with? Who are you?
So I'm Chase Lindley, starting strength coach here at Oklahoma City. I'm
Hmm.
actually the head coach too of the gym. Been here almost 2 years now, um, just coaching and running the franchise gym here.
Hmm. And then the guy I talked to, was it David, right? He owns
David
your gym,
Heon?
or is he a separate?
No, so David Heon is the owner of Starting Strength Tulsa.
Okay,
So
gotcha. But I got
that's
in line
actually
with
those are
David.
the guys. Yeah, so
Super nice guy.
those are the clients that we actually heard from Jade about my great game that I got. So they told us
Oh, okay,
about her from
nice, 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 nice. Is Jade running around?
No, they're outside right now. Phoebe had to
Oh, they're
take
out.
them. Yeah, to go poop.
Classic poop. Probably staying home for New Year's. That sounds about right. Did you kill your wife with squats yet? Because we remember last time they were pretty rough. He had her doing like RPE 10,
Oh,
RPE
that's right.
11, death grinder
Forgot about that.
squats.
Yeah.
Yeah, in the middle of her neck. It's like, oh. Um, I think Chase just needs to come clean and just admit his name is actually Thor. How do you feel about that,
No.
Chase? Is that fair?
So like in actually Norse mythology, Thor is redheaded and he's red bearded. I got somewhat of the red tinge going on, but
It's getting way darker.
yeah, it's
Hmm.
just because I haven't probably shampooed it. It's just probably all nasty.
Is this the
Collecting all like
longest that you let it get before?
probably yeah.
Nice. Pick your shit up.
Looks
Damn,
nasty. I
dude.
don't like it, man. Looks like pubic hair.
Greg Locke, G Locke is going to bed at 8 p.m. YOLO. Yeah, dude, that's with your fucking baby, you quitter, excuser. All right, Johnny G, he's taking the wife to Costa Mesa to see Grant for an introduction to lifting class. What
Nice.
a good idea!
That's
What
a
a
good
good
idea.
idea.
Very good idea.
She's gonna like it a lot more.
Mhm.
Yeah, MJDC, how's it going, MJ? Any updates on your deadlift? Did you get that 4 or 5 single you were working on? Do you think you did, Chase? If you
I
had to
think he
bet
did.
by now?
I
Yeah,
want to say he did.
it was real close. It was real goddamn close.
Yeah, it was.
But let's get to the thing.
So,
Yeah, we're gonna
Alex,
have
what'd you get for
another
Christmas, man?
incredible episode. Oh, what did I get for Christmas?
Mhm.
What did I get for Christmas? Oh, my sister got me some cologne.
Nice.
Nope. Oof. R.I.P. MJ. He missed again.
Damn, dude.
Why? What's going on? Start deadlifting more. Just deadlift 345 for as many triples as you can for like 3 weeks.
Mm.
Just move like 80 triples a week, and you'll be like, wow, deadlifting is starting to feel easier. I don't know what's going on with this. Got the Black Friday deal, $50 each. That's a really good deal for an intro session. Grant can probably bang that out real quick. That's good that you've had a good amount of experience with it. So yeah, you'll be fine, Johnny. The video I sent you reviewed last time. Damn, R.I.P. Yeah, so I got some cologne and a thermos, and then my mother gave me some cash in an envelope. She was like, I didn't know what to get you, sweetie. And I was like, yes, thanks,
Perfect.
mommy.
Yeah, cash is perfect.
Perfect. Now I can buy drugs. What'd you get for Christmas, Jace?
I'm starting to feel really old, man. I actually got like a travel bag, not
Ooh.
like a bag where you put like your toiletries in, but like an
Yeah.
actual like over the weekend bag, and I was really excited about it.
Ooh, a nice weekend bag. Nice
Yeah,
travel
so
bag.
but like the 6-year-old in me was like, "What the fuck, dude? Like, there's no action figures, there's no like shit that we can shoot or anything like that." And I'm like, man, I am
You're like,
definitely
Phoebe, I
feeling
wanted a gun.
old. Yeah, I want a Nerf
God.
fucking belt-fed machine gun, dude.
Oh, that's funny. Ooh, wife got Johnny an Echo
Oh,
bike. She's
nice.
calling you fat. Your calves need to be more lean, Johnny. That's what's going on. Chase, can you see all these tabs up here, by the way?
Yeah, it's a lot.
I just went through the better questions. There were other questions in this, just in like the first immediate part of scrolling.
Jesus.
They were even worse. There's a million questions right now sitting on the SS subreddit.
Mhm.
Um, okay, yeah, good weekend bag. Yeah, I got Anastasia. She had a really nice thermos from Japan when we were there,
Mhm.
and she's been using it since we left. And it's starting to slowly like degrade. So I ordered her another one of those, and then she got me some nice Japanese knives. So now I can
Oh,
commit
nice.
Sudoku and kill myself with them.
So are they like cooking knives or are they just
Yes, yeah, cooking knives.
oh,
Yeah.
nice.
hmm MJ, I'm never not serious. I don't know what you're talking about. Get a ton of sub-maximal pulling volume in, MJ. Yeah, so if you're doing, like, 1 set of deadlifting a week, you're just relying on, like, your squat to drive it up. Kinda depends on if your squat is even moving at all, if muscle mass is moving up, but just deadlift a shit ton.
Yeah.
If you're aiming for pure strength, keep reps really, really low, bunch of triples, and then the goal is to accumulate a ton of work, and you can't do that if you're just doing, like, 2 heavy triples a week. So, like, get your deadlift capacity up, your ability to tolerate deadlifting, start off with like a 5x3 one day, add another 5x3 later on. Try to walk those up if you can. Once they get a little bit too heavy, change your schema. But yeah, just a shit ton of deadlifting, MJ. Yeah, a good weekend bag it's a very adult gift.
Mhm.
What'd you get for Phoebe?
We actually didn't get any gifts for each other, but what we'll probably do is she's getting like her hair done, so like like braided and then like artificial hair because black
hmm
woman thing.
Yeah.
That actually costs like a shit ton of money. I didn't know
Oh
this
yeah.
because yeah, I'm just ignorant and white.
hmm
Uh, my white privilege just kind of hid that from me. But no, I'll probably pay for that or something like that. And then
Nice. That's actually a really thoughtful gift.
yeah,
That's a giant gift. Yeah.
yeah,
hmm yeah, whenever I worked in property management, one of my assistant property managers, she was a black lady, and she was like, "Well, I had to get my hair done for the year," and I was like, "What do you mean for the year?" And
yeah.
she was like, "Oh, you have no idea about this?" And I was like, "What are you talking about?"
Dude, it's a process. It's like I remember I helped her one
Uh,
time take out her hair, and dude, like it's an art, like where how they braid it and stuff like that. I'm like, dude, this is
yes.
like super intricate. Like they
Yeah.
actually sew like hair into like almost the scalp. I'm like, dude, this is
hmm
some serious shit.
Yes. I was like, I cut my hair with a beard trimmer in the bathroom a little
Yes.
bit once every 3 weeks, and it
Yeah.
looks fine. Yeah, $10 beard trimmer. Okay. All right. So we're in for an incredible episode, people, as we know the quality that we always have. Um, and then we'll talk. This is going to be mainly questions episode because there's a lot of stupid ones, like we said. So we're just going to go through. We're just going to go through the list. We'll start right to left. This guy, Intelligent Oven 929, he has starting to have knee pain after he squatted with knee sleeves. Let's zoom in on this so you guys can see a little bit more. How's that, Chase? Is that better?
A little bit. Can you just
Not
make it like
legible
the
still.
the big thing, like the big screen? Yeah, that's
Hold
perfect.
on. How's that?
That looks way better.
Oh, amazing. All right. Turning to Reddit, that's your first mistake because I can't really find anything about this issue online. He's bad at searching things on Google. 7 millimeter. What? How thick are your pair, Chase?
I actually have knee wraps, and they're I double wrap them because they're long enough to where I can layer both material on my knee, but they're
hmm
definitely not 7 millimeters.
Okay. For some reason, I've always had knee pain after squatting with them. The squat session feels like I had bad patellar tendonitis. I never had squat pain squatting with the naked knees. This sucks because I purchased them for injury prevention. Um, Interesting. Have you seen this? He said he can obviously squat significant more weight with the knee sleeves. Do you think that's true?
If it's the tight SBD knee sleeves, yes, but at the
Yeah.
same time, he's probably squatting high because I have a
Yeah.
feeling like this thing may just he had bought like a wrong pair. It's bunching
Mhm.
up behind his knee, and he's kind of getting that precursor of oh I'm hitting depth, but really it's just the shit bunching up behind his knee.
Right, yeah. Had sleep since July. I love this. I began squatting naked in October.
Yeah.
Just balls dangling in the wind. I recently tried squatting in with knee sleeve to see if the issue magically fixed itself. Once again, I feel knee pain. Oh yeah, here we go. Could this be due to material bunching up by the back? Should I try 5 millimeter? All right, let's see what the guesses are. This is more than likely a form issue. Absolutely.
Hmm.
You're squat. Yeah, here we go. Likely squatting into your knees. Squatting into your knees. Yeah, I have not seen anyone. So like knee wraps, like Trace is talking about, those can give you a good amount of oomph. Just the sleeves
Hmm.
themselves, I haven't seen anyone uh, pull like a like a 5% or more increase in their squat. That'd be
No.
it once they're a proficient lifter. Mark Bell did have those. I think they may have been called the X sleeves, but it's like an X of kind of more elastic fabric that
Hmm.
goes across the knee, and the X is centered right where the patella is, and then it bends and pops up. I've heard those are really, really quite elastic, but I've never squatted them myself.
I've heard
So
the Inzer knee sleeves too are pretty thick, man.
yeah.
And same thing with like they're probably about the same thickness as the SBDs, or maybe a little bit more. But I was actually surprised to hear everyone's comment and actually saying like, yeah, it's a form issue instead of
Oh, here we
you're
go. We
fixing
found it.
form. Oh, is this him?
15 days ago, high bar. Yeah. Okay, so he's squatting into
Huh,
his knees, like we talked
can't see
about.
that.
Uh, Yeah, so it's like he has pretty good proportions for this. This cameraman is trying to obscure the squat as much as possible.
Yeah,
All right, let's try and pause this again. Boop. Okay, so he is below depth in this. His knees are a little bit too far forward. I mean, this is pretty textbook
yeah.
high bar. The toe angle needs to change. What else are you seeing here, Chase?
Stance needs to be a little bit wider, but the glaring thing, man, is
Mm-hmm.
his fucking hamstrings are slapping the back of his calves. Like his
Mm-hmm.
knee angle needs to be way more open, and he needs to sit back a
Yeah.
little bit more into his hips. Even if he's high barring, like you still have to use your hips while you high bar. Fancy that.
Mm-hmm. Oh man, what about his sick quad gains though? All right, so yes, he didn't even. So no one commented on that. Okay, here we go. Big thing I see about your squad is your oh this is him commenting on someone else.
Mm.
Right knee goes lower in the squat. What?
Ooh, oh, what are we getting in here right now?
I don't even have the. All right, let's look. Here we go. 4 months ago. So 4 months ago he was squatting 405 at 165, which is pretty decent. That's good for a nice young man.
Hmm.
He's about my height. All right, and so that was 4 months ago. He was squatting 405, and then 2 weeks ago he was squatting 365 for four. So let's see what's going on. His knees could just be rapidly deteriorating in the space. It looks uncomfortable. I'll tell you that much to start. Yeah, look
Didn't look
fast.
hard. Yeah,
No, this is literally just like, hey, how much can your quad tendons keep up with that style
yeah,
of squatting?
yeah. It's just a mechanical error, man.
Yeah. All right. Um, so then if we go to back, what would be the final verdict for intelligent ovens squatting with knee sleeve? Do you think this is entirely a form issue?
Oh yes, yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, entirely a form issue. Get that form fixed. Use your hips more. All right, on to the next one. This one's much more polite. This one for better company. When should I switch to phase two? 35 comments on this. That's gonna be interesting. Follow the program at best I can. Missed a few days, so you suck terribly already. Um, Interesting. He has stalled a few times, and he's been doing it for about 6 weeks.
That is interesting.
And he is 18 years old, 150 pounds at 6'2". He squats 145, benches 125, pulls 180, and presses 85 pounds. Ooh, Dios mio.
Yeah, man.
Man.
That's a good one. The prioritize the fork over the barbell.
Yeah, the fork over the barbell, the clan of the fork. Okay, yeah. So the problem here, when you see this, Chase, what is the glaring issue?
Oh, definitely his weight here. I mean, so we tell people about the first three questions, right? So if you're
Mm-hmm.
fucking up and something is happening with your progression on the program, the first three questions are, are you eating enough? Clearly, this guy isn't. Are you sleeping enough? Let's say he is. And then how big of jumps are you taking? So are you taking 5 pound jumps, 10 pound jumps, 20 pound jumps? And then resting in between sets, are you doing that appropriately? So the later two questions, let's say he's doing that just fine, right? But his body weight is artificially hampering him in order to make progress. Like a squat, at 18 year old at 6 to 150 pounds, and it's only 145. That's severely
That's
low,
crazy
man.
bad.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Even
Yeah.
even it being that low of a body weight, his squat should be way higher. So, it could be a little bit of a form issue, but if he tacked
Hmm.
on another 20 pounds, his squat's gonna jump up another 100 pounds, probably.
G-Lock, yeah. I'm gonna see if I can get Mick to do that. I'll be like, Mick, comment through this. If you want to do it and follow through. Thank you for your service, soldier. Um, yes, yeah. At 150, like, so even if we just think about the other guy was 5'10" at 165, right?
Yeah.
So he's 4 inches shorter than you, but he's squatting like almost 3 times, or no,
Mhm.
yeah, a little bit under 3 times what you're squatting here. And his username is not very strong lifter here, which is nice. That's nice and self-deprecating. Um, can I add chin-ups and curls, or will it hinder progress? My arms look like twigs. Yeah. So even if you did, even if you were like very accomplished rock climbers who are your weight and height, their arms don't even look that big, but they have the strongest biceps in the world.
Yeah.
There's nothing that you're going to do to get physically larger arms, unless you add the body weight in. So let's see what these
Mhm.
guys are saying. You got plenty of room to grow. I know you need to eat more, but there are no two ways about it. Thanks for the comment, but you didn't answer the question. It's a little mean. Fork over the barbell. I know still doesn't answer my question. Should I stay at phase one while deadlifting 3 times a week? Going to lead overtraining. Yeah, overtraining is not your concern. It's under eating.
I think, like,
Um,
they are kinda answering their questions. I mean, not, like, in the
yeah.
most, like, basic way, like, they're kinda just making some jest out of it, but I think this guy's just he knows the problem, but he just doesn't wanna face it.
Hmm. Yeah, greasy salad, which is a very good name, by the way. I don't know what kind of answer you want. There isn't some magical programming tweak that is going to make you replace eating 3,500 calories a day. Um, 6 weeks is too early to switch. Yeah, I mean, I think 6 weeks is too early to switch too. Like even if we just think about the reason that we drop deadlift frequency, it's to accommodate the stress from deadlifting. Is
Mhm.
homeboy deadlifting 180? Is that really such a stressful event that he needs 72 or 96 hours to recover from? I don't
No,
think so.
especially
I
at
don't think so
18 years
personally.
old, no.
Yeah. Yeah, at 18, yeah, you should be totally fine keeping that there. What do you mean when you say you've stalled a few times? He's failed sets more than once. 10% deload. I barely just managed 85 for 3 sets of 5. Microplates. Usually around 6 hours from breakfast lunch. Oh, our boy John Carr. If you refuse to gain 10 to 20 pounds, you can move to phase two and rob yourself a lot of progress. Nice. Think extent. He's a short king. He's a 5'5", 145. He's squatting 240, benching 150, deadlifting 250, pressing 105. His trainer told him this week just to switch to phase two. Yeah, it's gonna be a little bit different for everybody.
And here's another thing too, is like this fucking phase shit, like that doesn't happen. Like, so
Yeah.
if you look at like practical programming, this is just a brief overview of what this complex thing is happening, right? So it's just to show you, like, oh, well, we made this switch from maybe the exercise selection with the deadlift to the frequency, all the variables that we change over time.
Hmm.
That's what how we actually program, and then it looks like a different program. So phase two in that example, right? But in reality, like, if this guy was in the gym with either one of us, what we'd have to do is we'd have to suddenly make changes to maybe like not doing a 3x5 anymore because he can't handle that, to maybe modifying the reps and sets to a 5x3,
Yeah.
alternating stuff like that, alternating a little bit with some intensity volume to where it looks like now he's no longer in the novice linear program because he can't fucking eat, into a more advanced program.
Yeah, we want to keep weight driving up, and it seems like he can still get that nice strength and hypertrophy response from the triples. It's not something where it's like you have a small female client who's 150 pounds and 5'4",
Yeah.
and then they need to go to triples sooner because they've already exhausted their LP. It's a little bit of a different situation. But like the phase thing is it's interesting because they think that it's like once you go there, there's no going back. So imagine if he
Yeah.
tried phase two for a week and he was like, I feel like I'm not deadlifting enough. Just deadlift more the next week.
Yep.
The lifting police are not going to come and arrest you. Yeah, so that's what I would definitely say. But the big thing is eating. So I had an interesting call with he's one of my new clients. He's a soccer player or football. He's an Indian guy. He is, I think, 5'4", and he weighs 145 pounds. he was telling me he went home to visit his family, and they were all like, "Jesus Christ, dude, how'd you get so big? What are you doing? Are
Oh
you on steroid? Are
man.
you taking creatine? Is
Yeah.
this steroids? What's in your way?"
Yeah.
Yeah, so he was like the big guy at the wedding.
Oh, dude.
I was like, Jesus Christ, you're 5'4" and 145 pounds. It's amazing.
Jesus.
Um, yeah, just to think about that, I was like, that's the sickest thing. That is so sick. But he needs to gain weight.
Yes.
Like direly needs to gain weight just as much
Hmm.
as this gentleman does. Do you remember what was kind of outside of just going out and getting some Whataburger? Do you have any like easy recipe recommendations for these guys?
Man, what I did is I used to eat a bunch of crunchy peanut butter. So like I'd eat almost like
Crunchy.
a pan a day. Yeah, I love crunchy peanut butter. So
Hmm.
because like what I would do is this, I just eat it plain, right? Or like I mean, I maybe swig it down with some milk and stuff. But
Hmm.
I try to eat like a jar a day, or at least a jar every 2 days, and that's
Damn,
I think like the calorie wise, it's like 2 or 3 thousand calories per jar.
crazy amount of calories. Nice.
Yeah,
Okay, cool.
and it's
You
it's
just
like a
smell like peanut butter constantly.
yeah, it was pretty bad, dude. Like I kind of make myself sick on it sometimes. Like I what I do is in school,
Uh,
like I'd keep a jar in my bag, so like in between classes, I'm over there just like shoving
yeah.
some in my mouth, and then someone like, "Hey Chase, what's up?" And I'm over there like,
Oh.
yeah, yeah, exactly,
Talking to girls in high school.
yeah.
I'm like, is that peanut butter guy keep talking to me? Um, oh God. Okay. All right. Here we go. More programming questions from people who care about phases. We're gonna put this one up here. Let's try. Is this better? We're getting there. Technologically handicapped. All right. So Petunia 2T said, "Am I wasting my time with my modified program?" Without reading this, Chase, what is your guess?
All right, just looking at the title, am I wasting my time with my modified program? I'm gonna probably say so.
Okay, all right, we'll figure it out. So, for various personal reasons and limitations, I've settled on a slightly metal program. Um, I like the lifts. I just want to know if I'm missing something obvious. I would care about time efficiency, 3x5 squat, press 3x5, then either a 5x5 on row or a 1x5 on deadlift, and then 3x10 curls. I'm warming up appropriately and going 3 times a week, going up 2.5 kilos each time I complete the exercises with good form. So your
Mm,
boy here has taken out uh what's it called?
no
Bench.
bench.
He's taken out
Yep.
bench. He's subbing in the Pendlay
Rows and
row
deadlifts. Yep.
for low
For a five by
reps.
five.
Yes, it's very interesting. And then he's adding 3x10 curls no matter what. What would your recommendations be to Petunia 2T?
Just the standard novice linear program, man. So you're gonna squat every day. You're gonna alternate the press and the bench, so that way your press doesn't stall out too quickly, and you get a little bit more tricep overload with the bench. You get your chest built, all that stuff, all the greatness that comes with the bench, and then quit fucking around with the pin lay rows because one,
Mhm.
you have to. It's a sub maximal lift, right? Now, doing the range of motion, doing the exercise itself, it may feel hard, but it's nowhere near as heavy as your deadlift, right? Just get your deadlift heavier, and then you can do your pin lay rows heavier, right? Whenever the time comes to that, but you just need a deadlift every single time. And then with the curls and stuff, I'm not too worried about that. Like if you want to do curls
Yeah,
after
if you
your,
can go up 2.5 kilos on your curls at
yeah,
the same rate that you're going up 2.5 kilos on your squats,
that's good, man.
those are some impressive curls, buddy.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, the row thing is very interesting because I think people think they're going to have some sort of deficient uh, back hypertrophy when they get there.
Hmm.
It's interesting because it's like we have the chins in there, and frankly, there are a lot of chins, more than people want to be doing chins, or at least in the standard recommendations. It's actually a lot of chins. Um,
Hmm.
the pendlays, I don't think they're a great back hypertrophy movement. They're a concentric only, no eccentric. And if you're good at a pendlay row, you're actually only really pulling the weight for like the first 2 inches, and it's just flying up for the rest of it,
Hmm.
right? Um, with the way that lift works, if you're doing like a row that takes 4 seconds and all of the muscle, let's say tension's getting pretty evenly distributed, it's not just like because like a good Pendlay row is almost like an Olympic lift. It feels like an Olympic lift if you're doing a Pendlay row correctly. Um, or at least to be as heavy as possible. If you're doing a very light Pendlay row, it's going to be so submaximal on hypertrophy for most beginners that it's like just deadlift more. Like if you let's say if you spent 4 months getting your deadlift from 135 to 345, that would be so much more valuable for back hypertrophy than if you spent the same amount of time doing both deadlifts and rows together.
Yep.
Yeah. Here we go. He said, my new gym has super rough bars. How heavy do I need to deadlift to not get made fun of after wearing gloves?
Fuck wearing gloves, man. Just wear straps. I mean, no one would probably going to talk shit if you wear
Ronnie
straps.
Coleman gloves.
Does he have his own brand of gloves?
Well, I mean, he used to wear gloves all the time when he lifted.
Yeah, that's true.
See, like back in the truly masculine days of bodybuilding, back whenever it was just men sharing powerful moments with other men,
Why do you think
they would wear
did that?
gloves
Like
constantly.
Do you think it was like a they're one
Look
of
at
their
that.
hands look
Gloves.
nice and stuff?
Bam. Gloves. Bam. So you know how we think gym equipment is nice now? And like even
Yeah.
like so G-Lock is running into shitty gym equipment just as part of his life now. A lot of old school bodybuilders wear gloves. We think gym equipment is nice now. Imagine how shitty it was, 30 fucking years ago.
Yeah, that's true, I guess.
Yeah, just hook grip and forget about gloves. I'm totally not on hook grip, on team hook grip. I despise, unless I'm doing an Olympic lift, I despise it.
Yeah, I'm kind of in the same boat, man.
Yeah, I've tried hook gripping my chins before. I'm like, oh, guys, I tried to go for like some very high rep chin. When I was trying to get my chins from a set of 23 to 27, like strict dead full ROM chins, I was like, maybe I could cheat this by doing hook grip. It didn't help.
No.
Did not help. All right, let's see what people said to Petunia. Wouldn't drop the bench press. I can't bench press, unfortunately. That seems your press will stall quickly because I'm not doing the bench. I'd alternate the chins and curls or lat pulls. Very fair, Schnur. Bench is somewhat important, not terribly necessary. What is this, John Carr? Read this sentence, Chase. What? Bench is somewhat important, but not terribly necessary. Go to hell.
Look, like I know a dog shit on the bench and stuff. It is important, but like if you want to, there comes a time and place where you want to either progress the two, and that's where you have to kind of decide. But no, the bench is still a very valuable upper body strength exercise.
Yeah, it's hugely valuable. Like even like the reason if someone's pressing 225, 215, 205, it's because they're benching probably in the low threes.
Yep.
And then it feels fine in their hands, it feels fine on their elbows and their shoulders, and they get just all of that conditioning for load because the heavier parent lift is comparatively 30, 40% heavier. Like it's just so important because like the joint integrity cost of overhead pressing is very real for a lot of people. Silver Hand, again, very cool name. He said, what do you think of West Side Squat Forum? I think they squatted like that even without gear. Yes, they did. Yeah, so I think it's a common misnomer that it's 100% gear adapted strategy. It's the strategy is basically to reduce range of motion no matter what. Do you have any thoughts on this, Chase?
So their technique kind of mimics what they're trying to go in their sport, and that's just the total, the heaviest number, right? I think they kind of maybe stumbled on to like Rips kind of thinking of like the two-factor model where like training versus practice. They probably had to practice the heavier singles with all the gear and stuff like that. So then they maybe have fucked it up and they were like, we're going to train like this where we're going to have a super wide stance and use a very limited range of motion. But with our analysis, this doesn't really satisfy our three criteria. But again, if you're at West Side, you're not really fucking concerned about what I'm saying. You're concerned about squatting 2,000 pounds. So.
Yeah, I think the West Side lore is very fun to get into, like the history of it. Like there's a bunch of documentaries on it. Like there's certainly better resources for it than that. But like you got to think about what they're doing as a sport. I think that some of the fun things that I think that they do is like they won't have people deadlift. They'll just have them do a ton of squats, a ton of box squats, box and seated deadlifts, which is interesting. They'll have people do seated deadlifts before they do an actual even standing deadlift.
That's weird.
And they'll just be like, yeah, I mean, we made this guy gain 100 pounds.
This
He's
gay
jacked as
guy gained
shit.
100 pounds.
Yeah, we made this guy gay. And now he can't deadlift. um, but they made this guy, gain 100 pounds. He'll be fucking huge. They'll kind of get these studs in there, and they'll change a lot about what they do. And I think
Yeah.
a good the bright side of that is that they really try to avoid overuse or like repetitive strain injuries from varying up what they do so much. So like a lot of people who just get elbow pain so much during the squat, it's maybe because they're just, there's probably there's a form component to it, but it may be a very mild form component. But what's happening is that they're doing the low bar squat 4 times a week, where it's like
Mhm.
mixing a front squat, mixing a high bar squat, mixing an overhead squat, figure it the fuck out. And then even just that time off or that different angle on the elbow would really be all they need to get through it. So West Side, they'll tend to avoid a lot of those overuse or repetitive strain injuries by changing up the lift so much. But you just need to think about. I'd say maybe that's one of the best things that they do. The programming is very interesting. I'm a fan. I'd say the big thing is just think about the goals and the rules. It is for as limited a range of motion as humanly possible.
Mhm.
Yeah, I dislike short range of motion training. It feels weird to me, and I've never responded that well to it personally. Yeah, Chase.
I've never done anything like that, so I don't have anything to say about it. But I mean,
Yeah, well,
those
I can even
guys.
take the rack pull for you. How helpful has the rack pull been in your deadlift progression?
Gotcha. Yeah, it has been pretty helpful. But at the same time, like I don't go into doing like a sumo stance to help drive my actual conventional deadlift. That just I don't think there's any carryover
Quick
there
question. Most of your rack pulling, has that been above the knee or below the knee?
below the knee.
Okay, yeah. And frankly, even that's a longer quote quote range of
Hmm.
motion deadlift than than a lot of people do for rack pulls even.
Yeah.
Most people do rack pulls above the knee. Like it'll be like a 3-4 inch range of
Yeah,
motion.
almost like a power shrug.
Hmm.
Yeah, lift.
That's one of my favorite videos. That's like peak athleticism. When I show people what the ideal athlete looks like, I show the video of Rip doing the power shrugs in the rack.
Hell yeah.
Like, boosh. Like,
They're
look at
fun,
that
man.
power.
Yeah.
They're very fun. You can do it with like 500 pounds and just like
Yeah.
bash, bash, bash.
Exactly.
Yeah. Uh, okay. Here we go. Cool dude. I switched to SSB squats because I was having an elbow issue and had a hard time figuring it out. Yeah, that's exactly what it is. Figure out a way to
Hmm.
keep squatting, work around the injury. Yeah.
Yeah, send in some
Um,
videos too that we can probably help you with it. Cool,
yeah, I'm
dude.
trying to remember what Cool Dude looks like. If we've even seen Cool Dude. Have we, Chase?
I thought we have.
Wait, have we? He's
I
probably
don't know for
incredibly
sure.
handsome. All right, so Discount Star Lord here is he's having, he's not great. Um, Bilateral pars defect, spondylolisthesis, and starting strength. He got diagnosed with all three of these things. They're like, sir, it's terminal starting strength.
What the hell is a
Um,
bilateral pars defect? Is
Most
that like
people call the
tech?
pars defect similar to something like a spondy in the first place.
Mm,
But let's see if there's what the technical definition is. Uh, so yeah, it's the bridge from the facet joints. Yeah, so like it's also called spondylolis. So spondylolisthesis and spondylolis.
mhm.
That's what's going on with your boy here. Um, Pars. Oh yeah, he even says it. Man, imagine if we just read the thing.
Goddamn.
Sliding, sliding around a vertebra. In other words, L5 is broken in half,
Gosh, damn.
allowing the front habit to move independently from the back half. This is problematic because my L5 can slide around, which it currently has by about 1.5 cm. It's still grade 1, and the goal is to not have it get worse. Um, the doctor said it would probably get worse if he continues to do compression-based exercises. I enjoy training for strongman and I enjoy all those lifts. Does anyone have experience with this? According to my doctor, they think this injury is 10 to 14 years old. I probably did the break to the pars when I was a teenager. The bilateral breaks have long since healed. They just healed completely disconnected. Oh, that's pretty cool.
Mm.
Um, this means the past 5 years I've been doing weightlifting on this. He pulled his back in October in a deadlift ladder. The doctor thinks I just aggravated the existing condition. Doctor listed pills. He's like, you need to get on some Percocet immediately.
Yeah. A
Do you
fucking
want some Valium?
statin. Yeah, here's this, here's that, all this shit.
Injections. We need to inject HGH directly into your spinal cord.
That's awesome.
Um, Physical therapy. we don't even have to make jokes about physical therapy. And surgery's treatment options. Surgery's last ditch. They wouldn't necessarily be unless my L5 starts to slide around a ton. They can put a screw to connect it back in. Supposedly has
Mm.
pretty good outcomes, but I don't want to do it once you get cut. There's no going back. All right, Chase,
Man,
this was a lot from discounts to
yeah,
Warlord. What do you think?
this is a pretty interesting one, right? So the thing that's kind of like standing out to me right now is just so he said he has a grade 1 and the goal is to still not have to get it worse. My doctor said it, all that shit. So the thing that I don't understand is why his doctor told him that it could possibly get worse if you continue doing compression exercises. Clearly, this guy doesn't know how bones are formed, and that compression bones can handle a lot of compression forces, right? That's
Hmm.
where you stand up with 600 pounds on your back. What do you think is supporting you? It is the bones. So the bone mineral density is improving. How do you get your bones stronger? By getting heavier in your squats, deadlifts, presses, all that stuff, right? So
Hmm.
that part that just doesn't make fucking sense to me. But um, man, like he's still been doing the lifts. He's been competing for a while now, I would imagine. So
Yeah, this is the
I
thing. He said he's been weightlifting on it for like 5 years at this point.
yeah. So the thing that I would watch out for is doing dynamic shit. So if he's doing like a bunch of snatches or like a bunch of like log movements, stuff like that, um, or like an axle clean, something like that. Those are the kind of the lifts that I'd be kind of a little bit hesitant about. Like you could still train
Hmm.
them, but just not as frequently, right? But if he's doing a bunch of static stuff like the deadlift ladder, for example, like that's fine with. Just I think he kind of just was in a competitive mind state where he just had to go fast and didn't probably set his back enough.
Hmm.
Doing squats, all that stuff, I'm totally fine with. But he does have a point about the back surgery, right? So I think back injury or surgery rather, like the outcomes are a third of them it gets worse. Another third doesn't change the pain or any of the conditioning, and then the other last bit is it increases it. So you have 2/3 kind of working against you here in terms of the success. So I wouldn't fuck with it, man. I think
Hmm.
you just need to get like what I was saying, those the squats, the presses, the deadlifts real heavy, then watch what you're doing with the dynamic movements.
Yeah, it seems like a loading thing. Like frankly, I'm curious about why you went to the doctor in the first place. It possibly sounds like he just had a normal back tweak, and then he was like,
Possibly.
"Man, fucking back is killing me." And then they gave him
Yeah.
an MRI, and they were like, "Oh my god, secret
Yeah.
spondy."
You need
Um,
to fucking sit down and don't move because you're
and
about
it
to
was
paralyze yourself.
exactly, and it very well may have had a normal recovery curve for a normal back tweak that he's had many other times. Um, yeah, so the evidence that because like let's if it is only grade 1 now, frankly, if I had to bet, I would bet the house on this is that like if you weren't doing this weightlifting for the past 5 years and you were just sitting on your ass like Chase said, it would be at a higher grade right now.
Easily.
you know,
Easily.
you're keeping everything tight, you're keeping everything active, you're keeping everything as healthy as you can by doing all of these things. The things that I would worry about would just be like rapid movements under load. So like if you're doing yoke like a yoke medley and then you just slam into a 600-pound yoke as
Yeah.
hard as you can,
Mhm.
maybe take a second on that. Like load slowly, move fast once you're already loaded.
Yeah.
But like a lot of the other strongman stuff that you're doing comparatively is not that heavy to your deadlift. Even if you're carrying a 300-pound sandbag, like, I'm not a big guy. I've carried a 250-pound sandbag that's, all the way across here. And it doesn't feel that heavy. It's just incredibly awkward, you know?
Yep.
So it's like have my deadlifts are all significantly heavier than that, so my lower back, all these things, I'll be like, okay, like I feel like I can move this. It's just how awkward the implement is.
Mhm.
So the only thing I would worry about would be things that are in excess of what your normal deadlifting is. And here's
Yep.
what it sounds like. Where did he say it was the deadlift ladder? Yeah, he pulled his back at a deadlift ladder competition, which means you're already fatigued. You're at a competition. You're deadlifting as hard as you can. You're aiming for max reps. You're at like 0 reps in reserve, RPE 57. You're trying to kill yourself at a competition. And yeah, you just aggravate the existing injury. So like try to do better at the other events. And the next time you do a deadlift ladder, keep it, 1 rep in the tank.
Mhm.
And there you go. You're doing all the stuff that you want to do relatively pain free. Don't take the pills, don't turn into, middle America valley and wasteland. That would be
No,
nice.
fuck that.
Yeah. Yeah. The PT, he's gonna be like, maybe try some planks and some core work.
Yeah,
You'd
yeah,
be like,
exactly.
hell yeah, buddy.
Your abs aren't strong enough.
That's probably the issue. Is you're
Yeah.
yeah, it's your transverse abdomen. Yeah, yeah. So I think the course of action. Here we go, auto moderator. That's nice. Yeah, I think just keep on keeping on. Frankly, Spotty, don't know anything about parse defect, specific recommendations, DPT. How do I go about finding a quality coach? That's a big question.
Hmm.
Oh damn, this is the bro science risk fucking comment of the year here by John Carr. Belt squats circumvent the spinal loading if you can rig it low enough.
The
What did he
fuck
mean
does that
by
mean?
this? What did he mean by this?
John
John
Carr, man, if
Carr,
you're in
you
the
watched?
chat, yeah.
John Carr, let us know. I think he may mean, if I had to do this very charitably, it would probably be something along the lines of like it reduces demand on the lower back
Yeah,
if
I
the
guess
if
so.
the materials of the belt are physically taking some of the compressive forces, but that just
It's
doesn't
not how a
happen.
belt. Yeah, a belt
Yeah.
doesn't act like that. It's not a brace.
Hmm. Yeah, this is that. So Star Lord got to the point by himself. He said, like, if I've had this for 10 years, what has changed with the knowledge? That's one of the big things about imaging, kind of these tests, is like, does the diagnosis change the prognosis? If you're not going to change what you're going to be doing, you don't need another diagnosis.
Nah, fuck that.
Hmm. Yeah. Oh, nice. There's a subreddit for it. R Spondy. A bunch of people
Dude, that's
just
crazy.
going, yeah, just go. Well, this will probably be I'm curious about this. How much slippage? Okay, let's go to hot. Let's maybe go to top. 2000 future expectation. Shotgun MRI. Spondy 1, me 0. Grade 1 decision help. Sciatica. Yeah, this seems like a bunch of people who need to start doing light deadlifting.
Yeah, I was about to say, like, if you just go in here and just be like, just do deadlifts on every
Everybody,
single
figure
one, it's
out how to
probably
deadlift. Oh, here we go. So I was 400 pounds, now down to 300. Good job, buddy. And what's weird is my back felt more stable and hurt less at higher weight. My surgeon said to loose more weight and it will hurt less. So I did and am still loosing, but the pain is horrible now. And the spasms are ridiculous, or is that even possible to be losing weight? But the spondy hurts and worse, feels more unstable now. Yeah, these are just tragic situations. These are just
that
terrible.
sucks, man. Yeah.
Yeah. Like these are people who just kind of need like long counseling hours to deal with.
Yeah.
This may be a good passion project for someone who really cares about, this population. But let's not be sad anymore. Let's make fun of people on Reddit. All right, there was a lot of testing 1RM questions. So mathematician number 7455, he said he's running the NLP. He's competing in powerlifting in 2 months. Crazy. He's never tested his 1RMs before. Wanted to start testing them a few times before you get used to it. Here we go, Chase. Here's the question for you. What's the best way to add 1RM lifts to the program without interrupting my training? What do you think?
So Rip kind of says this, and I kind of follow along with him to an extent. So if you're like just now starting in your novice linear program, and let's say like your meet is, well, for example, 2 months away, I think you'll be fine just running up your squat 5 pounds until the week of the meet, and then you train. Let's say Tuesday, you take a lighter day off on Thursday, and then you squat maybe 5 or 10 pounds more of what you were supposed to do on your last squat workout for your singles, right? But if you kind of actually get into it and actually feel like how we kind of prep for it, I'd say 2 weeks before, try doing some singles, right? Not like one or at maxes or anything like that, but just kind of calculate maybe 10 pounds higher and just kind of ramp up a few singles, maybe do 3 singles 2 weeks prior, and then kind of slowly titrate it down to
Mm-hmm.
a 1RM the week of the meet.
Yeah. Yeah. I think one of the big things about this is you need to figure out you need to be actually very honest about how good of an athlete you are.
Mhm.
If you are a little bit of a doorknob when it comes to this stuff and you're going to need a lot of practice, then you need to take out more practice. There's no optimal from a physiological standpoint or like optimal from a programming standpoint in this realm, because it's
Mhm.
like you're so damn new. If this truly is your NLP and you're very new, you're going to do this powerlifting competition in 2 months, and then 2 months later, all those PRs are going to be like working sets for sets of 5.
Exactly.
If you are actually brand new, um, So the big thing is when I'm gauging this, because I've run a few people through situations like this before. And the big thing is figuring out, do they need practice and consistency on the unrack? Because if someone's a little bit of a wombat and they have inconsistent unracks and walkouts and they're
Hmm.
setting up and they're bracing, then it's like, if you're having a guy still doing a single set of 5, have him do it in a series of chain singles. You know,
Yeah.
have him step away from the bar and go back to it. Step away from the bar and go back to it, and really get that set up as tight as you can. Because if you're noticing that your reps are super inconsistent, you need more technical, lower rep, heavy practice. So
Hmm.
I wouldn't be averse to a month out, literally switching to heavy triples on everything and just getting a shit ton of practice in.
Yeah.
You
It's
know,
one way to do it.
yeah, figure, because like if you're a really good athlete and you don't have technical problems, then you can probably just get away with it of just kind of like, no, I'm just going to train in the meet and then just kind of take what's there on the day.
Yeah.
But most normal people need a lot more technical practice. And like even let's even think about let's just take the squat. That's an easy one. Like a lot of people fuddle the unrack of the squat. Bar will be a little bit off center. Bar will be too high, too low. You've never squatted in a singlet before. It's kind of sticky getting in the right position in your back,
Hmm.
whatever it may be. You unrack, your left foot's a little bit too far back, your right toe's a little bit too far out, things like that. Over a week, you're going to get 9 unracks or you're going to get 15 unracks, right? If you get 15 unracks, it'll help you with that process more. So think about that, mathematician. But yeah, Schnur and then Alex Patakic. How do you say his last name, Chase?
Patek.
Do you know? How do you
Patek.
say this guy's Patak?
Well, that says shut the fuck up, Alex, on his
Well, yeah,
username.
he's the SSC. He's movie hater. His name is Patakic something.
Alex
Okay,
Patek.
Patek. Okay. Um, that's your opener. How do you feel about that? People who are very new to lifting doing powerlifting meets, just in general. What are your thoughts on that, Chase?
Um, I see it in two limelights, right? Like you have something that you want to do, and you want to have fun. Hey, I encourage that. I don't care. But then I have kind of the science behind it of like, look, you're not going to get the best results because your ability to produce force is shit. You're doing a strength training program to get stronger, to get better at a meet or whatever sport. So it's just like, if you actually want to do this really smart, you need to do a novice linear program for a few months, and then let's go into a meet. But if
Mm-hmm.
someone's just like dead set on doing a meet, fuck it, let's just go do a meet.
Yeah, yeah. If someone's like, hey, I've done other things before, and I wanna compete in this, and they're legitimately interested in it, go for
Yeah,
it. Exactly what Chase said. I think the only time I've ever hesitated about it is people think if they should, they're like, well, I'm lifting weights, I should do the lifting weight sport, and you're like, you don't have to if you
yeah, exactly.
if you don't want to. Jeff Riggins, the last high pals of the year, everybody, right here. We're leaving this bad boy up. How's it going, Jeff? What'd you get for Christmas? Please let us know. Um, Julius, he said he hopped on the program 2 to 3 weeks ago, 3 months ago after COVID break. He's been feeling fatigued when doing squats, just warming up. The lifts don't feel good; they feel awkward. Let's just do the current. He's 130 pounds. He's squatting 105 kilos. He's benching 70. He's pulling 125, and he's pressing 40. Um, I
What's his
think he
body
means,
weight?
does he
Oh,
just need to reset?
gotcha.
His body weight is 60 kilos, by the way.
Yeah.
Okay. Um, yeah. So let's just say someone comes back from training after being sick. What's the normal on ramp like for that, Chase? Someone
Depending
gets
on
the Rona at the gym and they come back.
yeah, and depending on how hard you got fucked up from it, like if you lost a bunch of weight and stuff like that, we're gonna have to deload pretty good. So I'd say about like for every week that you miss, we're gonna take about 10% off. So if you're gone 3 weeks, 30% we got to deload, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, um, 1 week, 10%, right? So where you're getting back into your workout basically the week prior, uh, to where we're not missing too much, but um, I think the big thing here, though, is that I think you may just be fucking yourself up with just trying to do some 1RMs and stuff like that, and then you got sick, so your body's just fucked up from that.
Mm-hmm. So here we go, Chase. Valuable information. He is a male, biological male,
Hmm.
uh, 5'7". He's getting 7 hours of sleep a night. So he's 5'7" and he weighs 132 pounds.
Hmm.
That's crazy.
That's fucking small, man.
That's so small. How long are his clavicles? Are they 3 inches long on either side?
I don't know.
To be
Probably.
5'7" and 132, that is a narrow man.
He's very
Um,
fucking dwarf-like for sure.
yeah. Yeah, so the big thing here is food. Um, oh, he had a couple nice things.
Good.
That's nice, Jeff. I'm happy for you. I didn't get you anything for Christmas, Jeff. I'm sorry. If you sent me your address, I would mail you something. I don't know what it'll be. It'll be something I already own. I'm not going to get you something new. I can't guarantee what it would be. It could be one of my shirts. It could be a book. Who knows? Who knows what it'll be, Jeff?
Damn, that's interesting.
Yeah, I used to do that with some other friends. Just be like, you just have to
You
give
just
them
mail them
something.
random fucking shit.
No, you just have if you're doing gifts, you just have to give them something that you already have.
Oh, okay.
And you're like, shit. What can I give someone?
Here's a spoon. I have several in my drawer.
Man, I got too many spoons right now. I'm trying to shed some spoons. Yeah, it's 132 pounds at 5'7". Yeah, big thing here is just muscularity. These are GoMad candidates. Confirm.
Yes.
Yeah, email me your address, Jeff. I'm gonna send you just I don't know, maybe my wife's daily journal, maybe my wife's car keys. I'm not sure what it'll be. It's gonna be something I find in the house. Oh, this is such a big question here. Chase, you better have an immediate smart answer for this. What is the reason for SI joint pain?
Fuck, I don't know. There's a bunch of shit.
Okay. Hello, Limp War 1871. He said, I am now dealing for the third time with SI joint pain. Currently, I cannot perform a squat, deadlift, or row. I get sharp pain in my lower back and sacrum. How do I get rid of it? Chiropractic has not helped. How can I prevent it from happening again? Is it too much lower back overextension? What do you think?
My first analysis is maybe it's a mechanical error. So he could either one, rounding his back too much, not setting it into extension. Two, he's probably overextending because he just kind of hinted at it. So you don't need to be in overextension either. That's just as bad as being in flexion. It's just the normal anatomical position of the low back. And we do that by just extending it, right? So whenever we do this at a seminar, we put people in overextension just to show them that you can actually perform this contraction, right? And then we don't tell them, hey, this is what we're gonna do on the platform. We're just gonna do a normal amount of extension. So that's kind of what I'm thinking about right now. The next is like how's his stance on the squat? Um, is he locking out his deadlift all the way? All the other kind of mechanical issues going on with the lifts.
I'm trying to find a good quote for you here, Chase. And for this gentleman. All right, I found it, everybody. So Dr. Alf Nachemson, he was alive from 1931 to 2006. He was a giant in back pain research, and unfortunately, in 1981, his paper about spinal forces during flexion was one of the most misinterpreted and abused studies in the history of the field. The diagram from it specifically has been widely used to demonize flexion. So did one of the papers on cadavers where you take a spine out and you bend it, and you're like, they seem to not like this force, in a dead person.
Yeah.
This seems uncomfortable. But after he retired, and again, this guy, he's cited, thousands and thousands of papers on back pain. And his first name is Alf, so he has some sort of academic credibility. But one of his most famous quotes is, "One of the main goals of my career has been to determine the cause of non-specific back pain, and in this I have failed. I didn't know the origin of back pain in those days, and I don't know now."
Yeah, dude.
When I think about this, it is just deeply depressing.
Well, yeah, I mean, so like now, like everyone kind of has this umbrella term with SI joint pain. Dude, we don't know. We fucking really don't know.
Yes, Alf could not figure it out after 40 to 50 years of research. Yes, if Dr. Alf cannot figure it out, I don't know what to tell you.
Exactly.
War. There's
but
many causes
like,
for it.
The shit that I was saying is stuff that you actually can control and then look at, right? Now, if you're doing everything right, which it's gonna be a snowball chance in hell that you actually are, but let's say you are, yeah, I don't know, man. Like you're fucked up. Sorry, it's part of it.
Yeah, the whole chiropractic thing. I'm putting that link to the post, by the way, in the chat, everybody. So please click on that. That pain science page is actually pretty good. They'll be able to help you out a lot. And then you can hang that Dr. Alf quote up in your gym. And anytime you feel lower back pain, you can point to it and pour one out on the floor for
I
him.
like the visual that you gave me, man. Some fucking doctors just doing this with a spine. He's like, man, yep, I can take
Yeah,
this much of an
yeah,
extension.
yeah. There's a lot of the flexion and extension papers seem to have been on cadavers with the spines removed, and they're like, look at how when we did this, like there was an annular tear, and then this much
Yeah,
fluid came out. They would be like, this percentage of fluid came out, things to that effect, and then it like it never went back in, and you're like, yeah, because it's a dead guy's spine. You took it out of his
yeah.
fucking body. What do you want from this? Um,
They did that fucking experiment terribly wrong.
Yeah, if you did that on someone who was alive, it would be even worse. So just
Yeah.
glad that you did it on someone dead. All right, what did Jeff say? Jeff said pain is an interesting thing. He has some tendonitis in his right elbow that is a hate bringer. It always pops up on occasion for a couple months and just goes away. Yeah, yeah. I think the quote of "sometime it do be like that." We'll put
Mhm.
this in the chat as well. Sometime. I need to remember to spell. Very important quote involving pain.
Yeah.
Chase, what's your most common pain or tendinopathy that pops up for you?
Oh, I have some fucking quadricep tendonitis that's bad
It's
as fuck.
quads.
Yeah,
Both knees, one knee.
both knees.
Both knees. Yeah. So there's everybody has a thing.
Yep.
Yeah, everybody has a thing. Yeah, Chase's is knees. Mine is neck from grappling and elbows from grappling as well. They just get beat up from being cranked on all the time.
Mhm.
Um, could be a form issue. Height, weight, sex. No video. This is more of a general question. Okay. The pain is sharp and is the strongest when he's doing one-legged bending over or flexing of the upper body.
The fuck does that
Um, he may
like a
mean like a
kneecap that
one-legged deadlift. Is that what he means?
I was thinking like, like high kicks, kinda like that stretch,
Okay, maybe Limp War is
like a
high kicking
knee.
around and just hurting himself.
Could be.
He can't stop. Um, low load back extension aggravates the pain. It hurts anytime my spine gets under sort of tension. Continued bottoms makes it worse. Ooh, Sarah, how's it going, Sarah? What did Sarah say? She said, Dr. John Sarno, tension myositis syndrome may be interesting to you. It sounds interesting. I'm gonna look that up. John, have you heard of that before?
Mm-mm.
I'm gonna read about this and then get back to you, Sarah,
Okay.
and pretend I know things from a cursory Wikipedia article. Sandy Cheeks, that's a good one. SI joint for years. Yeah. So what? So I mean, like procedurally, if someone just tells me that they have very low back pain and there's nothing that's dysfunctional, like if they can pick their foot up and they're not pissing themselves, my move 99 out of 100 times is just like, well, just start lifting, manage your
Yep.
symptoms, and see how it goes. Is it any different for you, Chase?
No, it's basically it.
Yeah. And if someone's pissing themselves or they can't lift their foot up, you send them to the ER.
Mhm.
hmm all right. So moving from a 4-day Texas method from a stripped 5x5. He's been doing Sean 10 millimeters stripped 5x5 for the past 8 and 9 months, and I believe I'm no longer a beginner. Let's see if he's a beginner, Chase.
What the fuck?
Um,
I've never heard of Sean's 10 millimeters stripped.
it would
What is
be
that?
awesome if he was just a man with a 10 millimeter penis and really leaned into it. That would be great. All right, 2007. Oh man, beginner fitness guide, 6 exercise. Is this just starting strength?
It kind of looks like it.
Oh no. Barbell deadlift, rows, military press, uh, squat, bench, uh, chin ups. Okay, so this is just like a basic beginner 5x5
Looks like yeah,
program.
he fucking stole this from Strong Lifts, which then stole
Yeah.
it from us.
Okay. All right. So he is 20 years old. He's 5'9" and he weighs 150 pounds. Oh yeah, there was Mad Cow. I forgot about Mad Cow too. Mad Cow 5x5. Everybody look up this. Everybody send me a book report on Dr. John Sardo's tension myositis, by the way, please. All right, so he's 5'9", 150. Do you, just by definition there, do you think he's probably still a novice, Chase?
I mean, yes, I would suspect.
Sadly. All right, let's look at his lifts. He's doing a 5x5 on his deadlifts. He's pulling 250. He's doing a 5x5 on his rows for 130. His press is 100 pounds flat. His squat is 210, and his bench is 150. My main point is I know Texas Method is built in a way that should be an easy transition from starting strength. And since this program is different, and I haven't been doing power cleans, should there be an issue switching? So what do you think this issue is here? What would you recommend upon hearing this to Agent Orange? What would you recommend, Chase?
Dude, just fuck this program and do the novice linear program. I
All
don't.
right, be very generous, Chase. It's the end of the year. This is your gift. You're currently Santa, and
All
you're giving a
right.
present to Away Orange here.
So let's start it out, man. With the most glaring thing on this is like, look, you're just like how we talked about with the other two guys that were severely underweight. You got to get more mass on your body, right?
Yeah.
And then with the 5x5, that's just too much stress that you can't handle that. After like 2 or 3 weeks of doing this program, right? So you're going to deload a little bit by doing just a normal 3x5. And then you're going to run that on the squat, the press, the bench, the deadlift. And then once your deadlift is up there, let's say 2 weeks from now, start implementing some power cleans, right? And then sprinkle in some chins every now and then, and you're doing the novice linear program.
Yeah. So I think what we're trying to say here, Orange, is that you remember the meme, Chase? You've seen the meme where it's like some guy bad at fighting, and it's like we've trained him wrong as a joke. We trained him wrong on purpose.
Yeah.
You didn't do this. So the time that you spent 9 months working on this, you're squatting 210, benching 150. It's great. It's really good that you started. Fundamentally, the problem is that if you waste time on doing things like very low rep rows, for example, that are very light, you're taking time away from the
Mhm.
deadlift. If you do all of these things, they're a little bit distracting. It's the efficiency or the low hanging fruit that you're getting. It's just not really there. The reason why we recommend the LP is because you can end that 8 or 9 month period significantly stronger. Texas Method is an evolution of the LP's programming. So if you go from something that is this stripped 5x5 to then Texas Method, you'll be like, all right, I'm doing way less volume. I'm not that strong. It feels like I'm in fact getting weaker, and I've now added a new lift with power cleans that I actually haven't been power cleaning at all. It's really a bad idea just to go to the 4-day Texas Method just in general. You can go to a 4-day split, but you'll just have to engineer that a little bit differently. I just wouldn't call it Texas Method. That seems a little bit dishonest. I would recommend doing an honest run at the LP, and that means going from 5.9 150 to 5.9 180. And then focusing on, like, instead of doing these rows, right? Because these rows are costing you lower back fatigue. They're costing you this time that could be spent squatting or deadlifting. Do those, add those, change those to chin ups. Don't touch a row again until you're done with this. Get your squat up to 335. Get your deadlift up to, your deadlift's probably going to stop at 355 to 375 if I had to guess, with kind of what your progress has been so far, and then reevaluate from there. And then that can take you another 3 or 4 months. But I would not recommend. I don't think anyone in good faith could say go to a 4-day Texas Method here.
No.
Yeah. Good news, bad news situation. You have a lot of easy gains before that. Yep, very well said. Yep, gaining weight, same crap. Yeah, I have hope. I have hope for you, Away Orange. Let's see what else we got. Elbows up or down in the squat. Oh yeah, I've been meaning to ask you about this, Chase. Because I think there may be a little bit more gray area here in this. But let's read this guy's question. He said, "When I squat with my elbows pointing straight back," presumably he means this. Is that what you think, right?
That's what I think too. Almost like perpendicular to the
Okay, yeah,
torso.
perpendicular thing. Okay. It's not aligned with my back at the bottom as it says it should be, and I start to feel elbow pain, and I think I'm carrying too much weight in my arms. But if I lower my arms, then the arms will intercept more weight. So I think he means that as he brings his elbows down, his hand will be carrying more weight down, which is undesirable. But when he's cranking his arms up, he's feeling pain in his elbow. How would you address this, Chase?
So he did say whenever he's squatting with his elbows high, he's feeling it in his elbows.
Yeah, so high elbow pain, low, he doesn't want to carry the weight in his arms because apparently that's bad.
So like with a skinnier trainee, like with like a kid, for example, they can hang on to that weird like almost 90-degree elbow positioning and be
Hmm.
totally fine because one, they don't have the back musculature back there to kind of actually make the posterior
Yep.
shelf that we need.
That
So
was what my question was about. Thank you. Yeah.
yeah, so we're like really feminine, really. I'm sorry, not feminine, really petite women.
Really feminine men.
No, really, really petite women. It's kind of the same thing, right?
Yeah.
But if this guy is neither one of those, you could just be fucking up your grip positioning, right? To where your hand may not be totally in contact with the bar. It could be sliding down kind of towards your wrist. It could be really far into your fingers to where there's a lot of wrist extension.
Hmm.
Um, so you kind of have to watch that, right? And then from there, once you orient that into the correct position, your elbows are going to kind of, or rather, your humeruses are going to be pretty much in line with the torso. Maybe just a slight angle difference to this, but um, I think it's just maybe how you're gripping the bar.
Yeah, it's almost certainly the grip. And one thing I've noticed is that like a lot of people will do the thumbs around, so like a deadlift or a bench,
Yeah.
and they'll be like, "Man, when I put my hands down, it feels really awkward because they're trying to keep their wrists straight, but the wrists need to
Hmm.
bend if you're doing thumbs around." Um, yeah, so definitely, I think as first step is of course to post a video. But like Chase was saying, is that if you don't have a lot of back musculature, and then when because sometimes I had made this mistake a lot earlier on in my in coaching is like I'll tell people to like squeeze your shoulders back and together, shrug into the
Hmm.
bar, make a shelf for the bar, and it's like they could totally do that, but it's just still bone
Yeah,
you
there's
know
just nothing there.
Exactly. But the good news is, or I guess it's not good, but let's say advantageous, is that people who tend to not have any muscle on their back or shoulders, they can do this all day and have it
Yep.
not hurt,
Yep.
especially with load. And then as people get more muscular, they'll get a little bit more muscle bound, a little bit less flexible. They'll have
Hmm.
posterior delts to sit the bar on. That's why chin ups are so goddamn important. Um, but yeah, so if you're in a position where you can strap them straight back, put it to a reasonable position. It doesn't need to be.
Hmm.
It's not like as high as possible. You don't need to do this. You want it to just be reasonable. Okay, it doesn't need to be. It's just enough to facilitate carrying the bar. Um, but like having them go lower and then holding the bar in your hands, it's not the end of the world.
Dude, one time, as a side note, so I was kind of experimenting with that with a kid too whenever I was first training him.
Hmm.
So I had this small little kid, and he had the really high elbow positioning, and I'm over there like kind of like trying to put it down. I'm like, it needs to look like this. He's like, I can't hang on to this. So he goes from like severely like underneath, like his elbows are almost like over, almost like in like a clean position, right?
Hmm.
With bar behind his back. He like lifts it off his back and then puts it into the rack. The most freaky thing I've ever seen with someone's shoulder. I'm
You're
like, how
like,
the fuck did you do
dude,
that? Yeah, that was really impressive.
it's like if this was a few hundred years ago, you would be killed for being a witch.
Yeah,
This is not
exactly.
okay, buddy. Not again in my town.
No.
Um, yeah, very thin people, very thin, flexible people can really spook us. They can be very
Yeah, they're
spooky.
fucking weird, man. They're
Yeah, you got to
almost
stop
another
that.
subhuman.
You got to stop that, man. Okay, so Snusk's snub sounds like someone who would have stomach problems.
Yes, a big gut
He's
guy.
saying his gut has a circumference of 113 centimeters, which in real units is probably around 40 inches. Let's find out. It is 44.48 inches. So he has a 45-inch waist. Holy shit, that's a lot. Um, and his family thought he was in the 30-35% body fat range. Looking at pictures on Google, that would be nice if he got his whole family around. He was like everybody to the computer room.
Yes.
Do you remember do you guys used to have a computer room, Chase? Remember?
Yeah,
Did you?
yeah.
Yeah. Whereas like there'd be one desktop in the office.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so he got everybody to the computer room, and he was there like, guys, how fucking fat I am, or how am I? And then it's 30 to 35%. All the fat is around his stomach. There is nothing on his arms or legs. So he has defined deltoids, bis and tris, and a 44.5-inch waist. Um, the gut is annoying when doing squats and deadlifts. Push well and eat well above baseline and bulk or try a deficit. I don't want to fuck something up only a few weeks of the program. Currently, he is squatting 60 kilos. He is 30 years old. He is an M period. He's 180 centimeters, which is some amount of height. Let's figure that out.
He's like close to 6 foot, right?
He's 70 inches. So he's 5'10. and he's 94 kilos. What do you think?
No, man. I don't see how he has a gut being at what 94 kilos. It just, but let's just kind of talk about it in the standpoint. Yeah, this guy has a gut and shit like that. Well, just look, man. Just clean up your diet a little bit. So if you're, it seems like you're in a healthy weight range, right? With 94 kilos, like that's not bad. You're just shy of 220. If you want to increase your body weight, you got to modify the macros, right? So eat a little bit more protein, watch how much fat you're getting, and watch the carb intake, right? Um, we what
I'm just so he
the hell
posted
is
an
that?
R Sweden. He said En
Oh,
Kusimura Atopa Dasanai. And then I'm just like, damn, what a terrible country. Truly. I'm just trying to see if he posted a picture of himself somewhere.
no, he probably didn't. But he's
Yeah.
just probably like I've
Yeah.
seen this a lot too. Is like I don't know what the fuck people thought whenever they get into the novice linear program. It's like they go back to them thinking like they're 18 or 15 and they can just eat whatever the fuck they want because now they're
They're
doing
like, I'm
some.
an athlete now.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
did
They
15 squats.
they think yeah they think that since they're now moving a lot
uh,
more that they're just gonna
yeah.
magically just eat whatever the fuck they want and shed and look like a bodybuilder.
Hmm.
It's like no man, like you you have to couple the diet along with the training, right? The training helps build the muscle and all that stuff too, but watch your macros and this is going to help tremendously with the gut shit that you're talking about. But I think
Yeah.
personally you're probably fine.
Yeah. I think like if it is unfortunately, if you just kind of have this giant, like volleyball, beach ball stomach,
Yeah,
um, that is unfortunate. That's just a hard one to deal with. The solution is just get lean, you know.
yeah,
And that's a progress. That takes a long amount of time to do because it's like the issue isn't necessarily that you're just fat, you also have no muscle, so you have to do both of those things at the same time.
yeah,
um, it's not like there's a few stages, caterpillar, cocoon, butterfly to be your beautiful jacked butterfly. But like you need to remember that like the process of gaining muscle, losing weight, you're going to look a little bit weird. You're going to be like, oh man, I feel like my legs are getting bigger, my arms are getting bigger, my pecs are, my belly's still getting the same. Like what do I do about this? It just takes time. It just takes time.
yeah.
Um, uh, so this will be the last question. Then we have, and then I have some other questions for Chase. We'll kind of do end of the year wrap up. This is a good one to end it on. So this guy, his name is Matt Wales. He's probably British, which again, terrible start. He's 38 years old, 5'6". He's a short king. He's 185 pounds, and he is very weak and unfit. He has a fat belly and skinny arms and an average penis. No idea what my lifts are because I'm not training, but I struggle to do 10 push-ups. He started the novice program 5 weeks. Diet was fine. He injured his knee. He woke up one morning and it was swollen. He was maybe squatting 200 pounds, went to a physio, then an orthopedic. They were both quite vague about what had happened and they didn't give him a real answer.
The fuck.
He confirmed it was nothing significant and it was just considered wear and tear, maybe inflammation, who knows. So the doctors were just like, damn, that sucks. I'm sorry that happened.
Yeah.
Um, he tried putting off lifting weights. They suggested slowing down progress. What do you think? He wants to give the program. Oh, he's definitely British, Chase. Look at this.
Oh fuck, dude! You don't
These
spell it
people,
like that, you backwards motherfuckers.
the programmy, um, another go and I'm willing to progress more slowly. If I just had to stop after 5 weeks, if I did go slower, should I eat a modest amount of calories to reflect the slow progress, or should I engage in some other programmy to build a base level of fitness before I try again? Um, yeah, so I think if you are the 5 pounds thing, it is an artifact of convenience. The plates are in 5 pound intervals. Don't know what to tell you. It is a small amount of weight that most people can go up most of the time for a significant amount of sessions. It's not specifically you. So for you, Matt Wales, if you're like, I've noticed I experience pain a lot, I've noticed I'm more prone to injury, and my form is already pretty good. Let's say you don't sleep a lot, you're running pretty hot on stress, your work is high, running chasing kids around, things like that. Then yeah, you can certainly take smaller jumps. There's nothing wrong about that. All you're doing is just extending the timeline. That's it.
Yep.
Um, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Chase, what do you think?
No, I agree. And then same thing where I was telling the other dude about the eating. Just, I mean, look, you're not a fucking you're not Usain Bolt, so you're not going to eat like him. So you got to
Yeah.
tailor your diet accordingly.
Yeah, I mean that's even rough for that is rough for people who used to do athletics all the fucking time. I mean, back like
Yeah.
when I think about how I ate at the end of college when I was probably doing 12 to 14 practices a week and then also lifting, I was like, oh yeah, I know, yeah, I'm eating 5 to 7,000 calories a day. Just going to like the buffet meal halls,
Hmm.
2 or 3 times a day, plus snacks, plus shakes in the morning, shakes at night.
Yep.
And then if I ate that now, only practicing 4 to 8 times a week. If I did that now, I would gain fucking 25
Be a
pounds.
thick old boy.
I'd be a little fatty. So it's hard for people who are even, on every end of the spectrum. It's hard. It's not easy for anybody. Just think
Yeah.
about it like that.
Yep.
But yeah, I would just focus on eating as cleanly as you can, and then chances are, you'll still be building muscle. Like
Yep.
5'6", 185. That's already fairly heavy for 5'6".
That's
So.
not bad, man.
hmm Does Mark like how Thor looked in this? What a question is this? Silver Hand. Does Mark like how Thor looked in?
God of
Uh,
War Ragnarok.
oh, that's what God of War. Okay, Gal
Hmm.
Ragnarok. He mentioned how Hemsworth is skinny in the movies. What do you think, Chase?
Yeah, so I think he
The
said on
inside
the
take.
podcast. So like I think Nick showed him a photo. Have you seen him? What he looks like in God of War Ragnarok?
Oh, the video
Pulling it
game.
up. Yeah.
Yeah, Fat Thor in the
So he
video
look.
game.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's how he looks
Yeah.
like in the tales and in the in Norse mythology. I think that's how he
hmm
looks, man. Because he's a dude who loves to eat. He loves to drink. He fucking fights.
Yeah.
He is the protector of Midgard, all that stuff. So he's that's Thor, man. Instead of fucking Chris Hemsworth, where you're like 205 and you're trying to fling around a hammer and shit like
You
that.
mean
No, it doesn't
classic
work.
physique bodybuilder Chris
Yeah,
Hemsworth?
exactly. Yeah, it just doesn't work.
Yeah, Power Belly Thor. Yeah, Power Belly Thor is
Well,
pretty
like
good.
in some of like the tales, like he's eating. So he has a goat pulled chariot, right?
Uh huh.
He kills his goats almost every single night, and he eats them, right? And then um, he like throws the bones in the fire or some shit like that to then recreate them. Or he can brings them back to life with his hammer. I forgot what it was exactly, but
Damn, those goats must be really annoyed
he's
by that.
he's eating his fucking goats every goddamn night, and it's not just one; it's two fucking full
hmm
grown ass goats,
He is
almost ram,
resurrecting them every night to be eaten.
basically. Well, that or
R.I.P.
that if he's in Asgard and he's fucking munching down in the halls, so it's like,
Yeah,
yeah, he's gonna be a big old boy.
he's gonna be a big boy. Interesting. Yeah, I think that if that is more accurate, I like it. Um, I do like the GI Joe esque sort of body image things for men where it's like, yes, all men should be giant bodybuilders. This is correct. I want
Yeah.
little boys to be like, what, mom? I have to go hit biceps. And they're in sixth grade. That's the goal. Um, all right, Lou, did you hear about this, Chase? Lou getting popped for EPO?
Yeah, I heard about that.
Yeah. Do you have any thoughts on that off the cuff?
It's not fucking surprising. I mean, look at the Chinese, man. They are goal driven. They want to fucking win. They want to dominate not only in in athletics or anything like that. They want to dominate basically the world. So they're gonna do whatever the
hmm
fuck they want to dominate. Hey, this is a very competitive industry, and he did what he thought was right, or he got
Yeah.
some bad advice. Like I don't credit him personally with making that decision. I think it was his coaches or someone who held the
It's
gun to
all a
his head or
team. It's
family.
never the
Yeah,
individual athlete. It's all a
exactly.
big team. Yeah.
So he just
Um,
was unlucky. He just got popped. Sucks.
Yeah, it is. So I Weightlifting House had a good video on this, and they were saying like some of the speculation is that it was doing something in Ecuador, one of the meets in Ecuador, and it's just so relatively high that even getting there a week or two in advance is not enough time to acclimate to the air. So
Hmm.
the EPO would have helped red blood cell count. So I mean that certainly could be it. One of the other thoughts that I had about this is that maybe he got, and I don't want to say intentionally, but he was okay with getting popped and being a little bit of a sacrificial lamb for this
Yeah.
one because he was on a ton of shit for many years. Like
Fuck
I
yeah.
think, I mean, if anyone looked at Lou and was like, "Oh, of course, that's the natty professor right there," like 100%
Yeah.
Scouts honor.
Yeah.
Um, uh, yeah, yes, that's one of the things that I thought about too, Jeff. I was like, you know what? It almost seems like he was like, hey, EPO's fine for this because that way he'll be like, I only got caught for EPO. I didn't have giant traps up to my ears from EPO. That was,
Yeah.
a lot of dumplings and hard work. Um, Yeah.
And
So
think of it too,
that's
like he's
interesting.
he's getting older too. Like he's fucking almost 40 something. Like maybe this
Hmm.
is his way out of the sport, right?
That's what I
It's
thought. Yeah.
yeah. So instead of him just being like, nah, I'm done, like that's not, the Chinese way with honor or whatever the fuck they believe over there, but then just
Hmm.
getting popped and just be like, yeah, I'm done. Fuck it.
Yeah, and it's
I'll be
very
all right.
possible that like China was like, "We need you, we're giving you your badge and gun. We need you to get back under the bar, Lou."
Yeah,
And he's like, "Fuck
exactly.
this, EPO, I'm done."
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, yeah. He just still had some. He just left the needle in his arm. He was like, "Oh, USADA, I didn't expect you to be here," or WADA, excuse me. Um, yeah, that's funny. Okay, so Chase, it's been a whole year. What was the biggest or most surprising thing that you learned in 2022?
Uh, Man, so I recently did another meet here,
Mm-hmm.
a few weeks ago that didn't really turn out too good. So I had some kind of poor advice about just going on with training. So it was a big learning experience for me about how I need to train the Olympic lifts. That was a big one, and then how kind of like what Rip was saying about like making sure that we're getting as high of an intensity with the training effect of singles and stuff like that, kind of similar to like the
Yeah.
Bulgarian method with training. That shit actually does make a lot of sense now because what I was
Mm-hmm.
doing was I was doing a bunch of volume, but at not high enough of an intensity. So my list really looked good, but I
Yeah.
couldn't produce the numbers that I wanted to do come meet day. So that was again a really big learning experience, and I think that really solidifies in my head that yeah, this shit's he's right about some stuff.
Hmm. Yeah, because it's like the volume's helpful if you're a little bit deficient in muscle mass, but you're all muscled out, buddy.
Hmm.
you know, so it's like how much more those sets of five on clean's going to do for his posterior chain.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, that's a big one. So like a lot of learning about how to program for yourself for the Olympic lifts.
Yes, big
Yeah,
time.
yeah, that's huge. Um, what to say for me? It was good getting. So I feel like I'm finally back in the game, if that makes sense.
With training and
In
stuff.
terms of yeah, in terms of just because like all the health stuff, like this was
Hmm.
so pulling over five again at like RPE 7. It that was very nice, and that
Hmm.
was the first time I've done that post diagnosis. I'm back on the mat now a few days a week. I'm starting to feel strong, starting to feel fasting, and I feel like I have my breathing back. And that's
Hmm.
kind of what they said. They say like, hey, it's going to take a year and a half, 2 years to kind of get all this stuff stabilized, and that was pretty good. In terms of like the coaching front, what I have learned about programming, hmm, anything that you've learned about programming or coaching specifically that's not yourself, Chase. Think about that, and I'll think about that too.
Okay.
Um,
Mm, Man, I think it's just I, I got exposure to again, like you kind of just get some whack ball clients every now and then, and I got a little
yeah.
bit more exposure with uh, a dude who, man, just looks like he's built with spare parts, but he actually can lift a pretty respectable amount day one. So that
Hmm.
that was pretty interesting, man. It's like never really judge a book by its cover. Then how do you go about fixing problems with what you got in front of you? So that I always love that part of my job, and
Yeah.
that's kind of why I do this, man. It's always a critical thinking on your feet, right then and there.
It's yeah. The I because I was talking to some relatives about this over the Christmas, and they were like, fundamentally, what is your job? And I was like, it's really just kind of being conscientious and communicating with people. That's it.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. You're very conscientious, Chase. Yeah. So I think the biggest thing that I learned about this year in terms of programming is that I had a few clients who I think I was not necessarily sandbagging, but they had a lot more to give, and I just
Hmm.
wasn't asking it from them because things looked so slow or so ugly or so sort of like, I feel like we're kind of on the verge of a back tweak. This is getting real slow. This is too much volume. This is too much
Hmm.
XYZ. Um, and I think I had more of a conservative risk profile, and I needed to be more aggressive. So I think I got better at seeing where my risk profile should be with certain people because I had some 60-year-old guys this year who were like long-term endurance athletes who were like, I need to be doing more, and I'm like, bro, you're 60, calm down. This is enough work.
Yeah.
Um, and then just trusting them to give them the amount of work that they need and kind of letting them do that. And then they exceeded all my expectations. That was
Yeah.
a big thing. Um, kind of having those little leaps of faith because one of the things that you're always so concerned about is fucking someone up. You do not want to fuck someone
Yes.
up. It makes
It's a
your
big
life
one.
hard. It makes their life hard. Um, So taking these kind of leaps of faith of giving people a longer leash, that was really big. And I learned so many things about martial arts this year. Having to take a health break from martial arts and then getting back to wrestling and judo and BJJ.
Mhm.
With fresh eyes again, there was a lot of learning there. So overall, super productive year. What's your goal? Do you have any resolutions or goals for 23, Chase?
Um, and it's always kind of like the same goal, just like and improve in my physical aspect of my ability as a lifter,
Hmm.
improve my ability as a coach in order to learn more, um, stuff like that.
Yeah, yeah. I think so the goals of just kind of taking more clients on and just kind of getting more efficient with everything, I'm still holding that there. The one kind of fun, cutesy goal I'm doing is I would like to journal every day. One of my friends who's a good role model for me, he journals, and
Yeah.
I started journaling like 2 weeks ago. It's actually super helpful. I like it a lot. Um, we'll see if I
So,
hold up though.
so what is like a brief synopsis of like what you've been journaling? Is it just like, a thought that comes into your head today or something like that?
It's just kind of a log about the day, frankly.
Yeah. Like I
Yeah,
took a
it'll be like
massive
what
poop at
practices
7.
I. It'll be like I'm really good at shitting. Um, Yeah, it'll really just be kind of anything. It'll really just kind of be anything notable, I
Yeah.
suppose. It'll be the kind of like if I worked out, what were my workouts for the day? What did I learn at practice? How are things going with wife? How are things going with work? How are things going with friends?
Yeah.
Anytime I've baked anything, that's also been in here as well. Um,
That's
Anything
helpful, man.
notable?
It's
Yeah, it's
that's
just
good
yeah, it
valuable
seems like a
data.
way just to kind of organize the day. We'll see if it holds up. And I'm gonna try to read this more this year as well in
Yeah.
physical books. In physical books, that's the goal.
I mean, I got
Um,
you on some recommendations, dude.
Oh yeah, man. Yes, yeah. Please send those over. I think I haven't read any fiction books in a long time, so
Oh,
I need to do one of
yeah.
those. I'm going to do one of those this year. The rest of them have just been history. A lot of history, a lot of Civil War stuff.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, Jeff. Yeah, try journaling. Yeah, G Log. He also tries journaling. Good work. Thank you, G Log. But that's it. Any parting shots for the year, Chase? Anything else you want to say? Say to the lovely people.
Um, no, man, just keep training. If you're trying to coach, keep coaching.
Keep
Try to get
grinding
better at
away.
it. Yeah, just
Hmm.
keep making yourself a more productive human.
Yeah. Do more chin ups, do more curls. I think that would be the best
Mhm.
parting advice for anyone. Okay, but all right. Thank you guys very much for watching and Happy New Year. Oh, Andrew, come on, dude. Come on, guy. You're coming in. I just said Happy
Oh
New Year, and
man.
you come in the last 2 seconds. Just joining, completely different topic. You guys ever going to R gain it? No, Andrew, you got to come back for the post New Year's episodes, Andrew, and then we'll talk about R gain it.
Mhm.
Yeah, yeah, Jeff. Thank you. Anybody who's been watching, thank you so much for sticking around.